Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the cusp of a global financial meltdown. And I'm going to tell you how to deal with this. Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. We got to talk about Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse. This stock, pretty significant bank in Switzerland, has been absolutely annihilated. Why? What's going on? Are we about to see the end of the world? Is the world as we know it collapsing? Are we going back to the Stone Age? Is there a global financial meltdown imminent that is the equivalent of what happened during the Great Recession when a bunch of clowns in the United States took on mortgages they couldn't afford? Well, let's go do some investigating. So here we have Credit Suisse stock. It's currently trading at $2.21 per share, and the total market cap is $8.52 billion. Now, let's look at the history of this stock. Oh, it's only down 71%. Now, I didn't know a lot about Credit Suisse. I did a little bit of digging, and come to find out, this bank has been embroiled in a lot of scandals, And they invested their clients' money in some extremely, dare I say, clownish investments. Can't just buy VT, apparently. You got to invest in clown stuff. And this bank has just taken hit after hit after hit after hit. Now, what caused this bank to slide? Well, number one, everybody's terrified about banks. Why? Because the Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. A couple other clown banks in the United States were shut down. There's a lot of fear surrounding the banking sector. And now, come to find out, Credit Suisse shares tank after Saudi backer rules out further assistance. Now, the Saudi National Bank apparently owns 9.88% of the shares. And Credit Suisse, if they get into a liquidity crunch, if they need cash, right, they may have to issue more shares. And it looks like the Saudi National Bank has said, hey, we're not going to give you any more money. We're not going to bail you out. We're not going to lend you anything. We have enough invested with you already. We're not going to do that anymore. And besides, you're a clown bank. I'm sure they didn't say that. But it's true. The Saudi National Bank owns 10% of this company, and they don't want to lend them any more money. Now, own it and lend it. Now, let's go look at some other concerning things that happen with this company. First of all, they just released their financial statements pretty recently, and their auditor's report had a little issue. So they were audited by PwC, and on the auditor's report, it says, in our opinion, the bank did not maintain in all material respects effective internal control over financial reporting as of December 1st, 2022. It looks like they got a no from the auditors. Now, when it comes to auditing, and like I said, I hate auditing, but I remember some stuff about it. When it comes to auditing, the auditors express an opinion to give reasonable assurance on the financial statements. Because when a company puts out financial statements, do you really know if they're reliable? How do you know it? It could be a bunch of made up numbers. That's what the auditors are there for. They're there to give you reasonable assurance that what you're looking at is accurate. Not 100% guarantee, not 100% assurance, reasonable assurance. But the auditors, besides making an opinion on the financial statements, also, because of, SOX and the PCAOB requirements, they have to express an opinion on companies' internal controls. Internal controls are just processes and procedures to make sure that financial reporting gets spit out accurately. It's a way to control your company's processes and procedures to make sure the numbers that you're putting out aren't wrong, corrupted, susceptible to fraud, stuff like that. So the auditor actually looked at the internal controls and they said, your internal controls, how your accountants and everybody else deals with processing and reporting financial information, are not good and you need to fix it. So this report comes out. There's this opinion that they did not maintain effective internal control. It doesn't mean the financial statements are inaccurate, because the opinion was the financial statements were good, but the internal controls that help lead to financial reporting were not good. So there's some issues that need to be worked out there by management. That's management's fault. But at least for now, the financial statements can be trustworthy. Now, if we go do a brief skim of the financial statements, We see that their net revenues year over year have collapsed by a significant margin, over 25%. Their revenues are down 25%. And they had a loss of $7.3 billion, looks like Swiss currency, in 2022. $7.3 billion. That's a pretty big loss. I think that was like $8 billion in dollars. That is a massive loss. Okay. This bank's losing money hand over fist. Now, if we see what could have caused this, well, we see interest and dividend income is up. We see interest expenses also up. We see net interest income minus interest expense is down a little bit. Commission and fees revenue is down very significantly. Very, very significantly. Down almost 4 or 5 billion. Trading revenues down. Other revenues, well, trading revenues are massively down compared to the prior year. They actually, looks like they lost money on trading. Good job, guys. And yeah, so those are the two big ones, the commissions and fees and trading revenues. So those two right there have absolutely hurt their revenues. We look at their operating expenses. Their operating expenses are basically flat. So if your revenues go down and your operating expenses stay the same, of course, you're not going to be as profitable, okay? So they booked a massive loss in 2022. And I believe, I was reading a report that loss in 1 year is the same as their market cap. That's incredible, okay? So we go and look at the balance sheet, and of course we could see some concerning things here, okay? We can see obviously their cash balance has gone down pretty significantly from 164 billion to 67. That's a pretty significant decline, okay? And we can see deposits are going down pretty quickly. Their deposits at the end of 2021 were almost 400 billion, and now they're 235 billion. So people are pulling money out of this bank. They're pulling out a lot of money from this bank. And when people pull out deposits, that could lead to some trouble, because if you think about it, you need cash, right? You got to have cash there. And when banks lend out money, or they do what banks do, they don't have all the cash there to cover all the deposits. So if there's a run on the bank, or deposits, people pulling out money accelerate, that could lead to some issues. Okay. So there's a lot of concerns here. Losses, and issues with internal controls. And then if you go look at their the history of this bank, like, oh my God, there's so many scandals this company has been part of. Fake names for Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos. Who are these people? Philippine dictator, Japanese shredding party. Bankers destroyed evidence related to an investigation. Okay. Banking funds linked to a Nigerian dictator. Money laundering for the Japanese Yakuza. U.S. sanction breaches. Credit Suisse was fined $536 million for deliberately circumventing U.S. sanctions against countries including Iran and Sudan. German tax evasion, subprime bond fraud, U.S. tax evasion, Italian tax evasion, anti-money laundering, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And more recently, they had this whole spy scandal where there was some drama between these executives at Credit Suisse. And apparently one executive, I think this guy right here, hired some spies or private investigators to follow another executive. Like, it was just, this bank just has so much crap going on. Then we have Bulgarian drug trafficking, okay, and the Archegos collapse. Credit Suisse in 2021 recorded a $5.5 billion loss due to its risky exposure to the U.S. hedge fund Archegos Capital Management. They lost $5.5 billion. Basically giving money to clowns, okay? Hedge funds, bro. The Greensill scandal. Credit Suisse was forced to suspend $10 billion of investor funds after the collapse of supply chain lender Greensill Capital, whose loans were packaged and sold to Credit Suisse clients. The Greensill scandal, which stemmed from risky loans and extended to companies owned by metals magnate Sanjeev Gupta, spiraled after it merged the former UK Prime Minister lobbied ministers and government officials on its behalf. The bank is still trying to claw back money from its clients. Just clownish mistake after clownish mistake after clownish mistake. Mozambique tuna bonds? What is this? Credit Suisse was implicated in $50 million worth of kickbacks that a government contractor handed to its bankers in exchange for better terms on nearly $1.3 billion worth of loans to the People's Republic of Mozambique. I mean, this bank is a freaking clown show. Now, do I think this bank's too big to fail? I have no idea, man. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you could like buy the dip and, oh, yeah, maybe it's going to go back up. It's too big to fail. Or you could lose all your money. Just saying. But that whole bank is a clown show. Why'd you change your name on YouTube, boy? I got to change it back. I had to do it real quick for some reason. Nice name change will be better for your business. It's going back. Let's see. Where's Strongman? Everybody's concerned about my name change. PwC actually rose some sort of doubt here. Maybe KPMG could learn a thing or two before issuing opinions. Ooh, sick burn there, buddy. So are they going to let it burn? I don't know, man. That's the thing. Is it too big to fail? That's the real question, because I think it's Credit Suisse and UBS are the two big banks in Switzerland. And Credit Suisse, it's Credit Suisse. Like, it's a big Swiss bank. Now, it's not the largest bank in the world. It's not even close. But it's a pretty significant actor, and it's a big deal to the Swiss. So I don't know what's going to happen, man. Let's see. Credit Suisse is bank for all criminals in the world. They will be fine as long as criminals exist. They will save them. Yeah. Credit Suisse has been in trouble. This bank is a disaster, man. I wouldn't touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. Credit S is not that big, to be honest. Yeah, I remember seeing a list of the largest banks. Let's see, largest banks in the world. I think it was like 40-something. It wasn't that big. Well, it's big, but obviously, but let's see. List of the largest banks in the world. So we got UBS here. That's another Swiss bank. And then, where is it? Let's search here. Swiss. There it is. It's the 45th largest bank. What is this data as of? Okay, this was total assets as of 2021. Their total assets now, and this is not in USD, so I don't really know the conversion, but it seems like total assets have gone down pretty significantly, which makes sense. Yeah, so their total assets in 2021. Yeah, so the banks, it's probably still down here somewhere. I mean, there's so much bigger banks. Look at this. Credit Suisse at 829 in 2021. Look at the largest bank in the world, the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, massively bigger than Credit Suisse. Okay. So I don't think it's the end of the world if this bank gets into trouble. But like I said, I don't know if the Swiss government or whatever is going to bail this bank out. I have no idea. Let's see. Credit Suisse wasn't diverse. That's true. They deserve to fail. Let's see. Kid Freshie owns the largest bank in the world. I'm sure, yeah. The world's largest bank owner is stalking my channel. Why did you change your name? It's a long story. I'll change my name back, okay? It's fairly big in money management. Let's see. You don't know I don't. Why can't all the reports just be in USD? Why do you have these different currencies? It's not USD or Dogecoin. It isn't real. Exactly. Bro, no one is going to be able to find your channel. Name too long. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, guys, that's it. I just wanted to briefly touch this. I hope you guys don't play around with this stock. Obviously, there's always a chance that you can make a lot of money on it, but this is also kind of a dangerous clown bank, in my opinion. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Cheers.